What is up YouTube, it's Kingfisher745, and as I promised, this is part 3 of the Spec Ops 26 task list. We have to really step this one up because we're going to be finishing most likely by midweek. And that's great news because we're going to have the Hulk Buster and the brand new Hulk uniform to use in PvP. So hopefully you're looking forward to that as much as I am. But for part 3, of course we're going to finish where we last left off. And that's with the research for the Legion Pulse Rifle Mark 1. So here it is completed, and with that we finish task number 11. You'll get the gun and 1000 silver, then we can move on to step 12, so roughly halfway through. For this one you only have to use Black Widow in combat, and it says she's a team up in mission 1, but everyone has her already, so you can use her in any mission, or even in the simulator. So what we're actually going to do is save Unstable ISO 8 and energy and just go to the Villains Archive. Once you're at the Shield Simulator, click on the Villains Archive tab and then you can face any boss. We'll just choose the very first one and that's going to be Militant. Then bring Black Widow into combat and you're going to get credit. The simulator is also a great place if you ever have to use any abilities for a certain character. So say you had to use Black Widow's flying kick or Widowmaker in combat. You can get credit for that as well in the simulator. No energy or ISO 8 is needed, so that's the main benefit to using the Villain Archive. You can also pick and choose who you're going against, so you can choose the perfect enemy. For example, if you're using a tactician, you can go against a blaster. That certainly is going to make any challenge that much easier. As for Militant, he's not going to put up that much of a fight, and we take him down with a counter. So upon exiting the battle and the archive, you should see the task pop up complete. For this one we're going to get 1000 silver and then we can move on to Unlucky 13. However, in this case we are in luck because this mini boss is already waiting for us on the Spec Ops map. So for task 13 you have to fight Crimson Dynamo, and he is a mini boss in Spec Ops 26 mission 2. Oh, and I know it says assist, but what they mean is beat him up. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Now the team up for this one is Captain America, but you don't have to use him. By the way, the dialogue on these fights really isn't too bad. Some of them are actually quite entertaining. Overall, I would say they do a great job with the storyline. And I actually really like the upcoming exchange between Thor and Hulk. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves, that's going to come a little bit later in this video. For this encounter, I'm going to leave it at Captain Steve Rogers and Black Widow, and we'll see just how quickly they can take down Crimson Dynamo. First of all, it does help that Captain Steve Rogers is a tactician. So we begin by putting flanked on Crimson Dynamo, and then we're going to get multiple attacks. At this point, the mini-boss is almost already knocked out. So that's a pretty great start. Then following his AoE attack, he's going to be countered, and that's going to be the end of Crimson Dynamo. Now after this, I'm not sure if you could lose the battle and still get credit for the task, but that is something you could do in the past. Just in case, we're going to go ahead and finish off the sentries, and we'll worry about our mission score later. As we've previously discussed, these robots can be very difficult. You really do have to watch because they can cause you to knock out your own teammate. That's probably my biggest concern. At least our Hellstorm knocks out the bottom target, but there it is, that Encephalo Ray. It can cause mind control. No lie, that's probably the biggest threat to our team. Well, it would have been nice if that flying kick would have finished this, but we miss. And then on Captain Steve Rogers' turn, we knock out our own agent. So our worst nightmares came true, and that's not going to help our mission score. But it gets so annoying removing that debuff over and over again. Maybe next time we'll just use something like the Techno-Organic Endoskeleton. My version of that weapon is extremely old, so it's a very low level, but it will still give us mindless. And that may be worth using, just for that alone. But anyways, we did complete task 13, and now it's time to move on to step 14. This one's called Phone Home. It's very easy, you just have to collect 2 distress calls. So simply visit any of your allies' maps that has the icon, click on Get Help, and then you'll finish this task. It's a really good idea to leave a few distress calls on some of your allies' maps just for tasks like this. And I always leave at least 3 to 5, but even more if I can help it. That way when I go into a clicking frenzy and I accidentally click on one, I still have a few in reserve. After collecting your 1 CP reward, then we're going to get a very cool task. We finally get to engage in combat with the Hulk. The reward for this one is going to be the unlocking of Mission 3 and the next blueprint, so it's a very important task. Okay, so the Hulk is going to be the final boss in Mission 2, and the team up for this one is going to be with Thor. Now, one of the interesting things about Hulk is he will actually invade some of your battles. And I read many comments saying this, but I actually didn't see him until my next playthrough. But after this initial encounter, I started seeing him a lot. Luckily, he didn't end up destroying any of my team, even though I heard that he definitely could. I guess you can chalk that up to me being aware of his power, and having read some of those comments. So admittedly, I always dealt with him as fast as possible. And I guess that would be my recommendation to everyone. If you see the Hulk show up, take him down. The sooner the better. Now as for this encounter, we do have one of the mini-bosses, and I'm not too concerned with the Crimson Cow. But I am worried about the Ultron Sentry. So what we're going to actually do is try to take him down first. We'll begin with the Hailstorm, and then I'm going to use the Blade of the Guardian on the Sentry. After this, he probably has 20% health, but he does counter with an Encephalo Ray. Luckily that misses our agent. However, he doesn't miss Captain America. So right away I figured we're going to use a Lost Page and clear our debuffs. Then what does the Sentry do? He comes right back with an Encephalo Ray on Steve Rogers once again. This is why I said it's such a pain trying to clear those debuffs. They just keep applying them over and over. It drives me insane. So with our next turn, I just wanted to damage him. So I thought, we'll go ahead to our item section, and then to our offensive tab, where I settled on using a present. Surprise, we got you a nice gift. Sadly, it leaves him barely alive. I decided to use our level 2 and try to finish him off. And wouldn't you know it, we hit Steve Rogers instead. So to avoid killing our own team, and in order to take out both enemies, we go with Cap's shield throw. And now we get to move on to facing 3 sentries. Oh joy. Well, at least there's a blaster and we do have a tactician, so we go after him right away. Then with our next action, we're going to use our AoE shield throw. That finishes off the middle target and severely hurts the other 2. So far so good. And we are getting some Storm Herald procs as well. So thank you, Mighty Thor. These are both solid ults, but I can't wait to see their Age of Ultron uniforms. And I really hope they're affordable CP wise. I mean, it's not an entirely new character, so there's no reason to charge 90 CP. In fact, I think that would be completely unfair. So I just want to put that out there right now. And hopefully they're listening. But anyways, we did take down all 3 sentries. And now it's just us versus the big bad Hulk. This was my first time facing him, so I was a little bit worried. But we end up knocking him out before he even does anything. By the way, don't worry when he doesn't go down immediately. Just like a few other bosses in the game, he flees instead. With that easy encounter, we finished task number 15, and we also got a pretty nice score. As a reward, we get the blueprint for the Legion Blade Mark 1, and that is a lesser Legionnaire piece. It has a 40% chance to cause disadvantage and ozone. And by the way, since it is a lesser piece, and you'll hopefully get the regular one, you may actually want to socket it. I probably don't because I'm a hoarder, but it wouldn't be a terrible option. These lesser weapons do have very nice bonuses. But anyways, that's all going to lead us to task number 16, Legionnaire's Lament. For this, you need to have an advanced encryption component, and then create the Legion Blade Mark 1 in the lab. With that, we'll click the link, and we'll see what the time and total unstable ISO 8 cost is going to be. And it looks like it's going to be 40 unstable ISO 8, 5,000 silver, and it will take 1 day. Don't worry though, I've already completed it, so it won't take me 24 hours. Instead, I plan on posting part 4 late this evening. So keep a lookout for that video. And as far as this one, I want to thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, good luck and take care.